Hello and welcome back for another episode of the Hesse Bros Pod. It's your boys B Hess and my brother Luke. Luke, wow, what a week 3 in the NFL season. For the first time this season, it felt like this was every single week last year. Both our teams get the dub. The Chiefs on Sunday night going into a hostile New York Giants stadium and getting the victory. Meanwhile, the next night, the Lions on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams primetime road victories. How juicy. And Luke, let's start with those Lions because that was a primetime showdown and a pretty major upset with the Ravens being 4.5 point favorites. But the Lions came in there. They were physical. They punched them in the mouth. They showed off some trick plays. Did the Lions prove it's Dan the Man Campbell, MCDC, and not their OC and DC from last year that really run this team?
That's too obvious. It is Dan Campbell. This is Dan Campbell's team, and we saw it on display all Monday night. That was absolutely beautiful to watch. I mean, every time you look up, it's a 10-yard run straight up the gut. Are you kidding me? I thought our offensive line, our front three, our middle three, guard, center, guard, was supposed to be our weakness coming into this season. And we just run up the middle every time, getting 10 yards. I mean, that was beautiful. And what really proves the difference of why MCDC really makes this team run and is going to push the Lions where they need to be for the Super Bowl. Let's look at what happened in the game last night, last week against the Ravens. Whenever it came down to it, 1 minute 53 seconds left. Dan Campbell says, "You know what? It's fourth down. We are not giving the ball back to Lamar with a chance to tie this game. We're ending it right here." And if you think back to what the Ravens did in Week 1 against the Bills, Harbaugh had the exact same opportunity to be able to completely ice the game, but instead he punted it to Josh Allen and let them come down and win the game. Dan Campbell doesn't let that happen. He says, "This is our game. This. You are not taking it from us," and that's what I love to see about it. And that's why he's got to be the best coach as far as creating a culture in the league. I mean, it's hard to debate that it's not.
That was an awesome performance by the Lions. It, like, rest assured for me that, okay, week 1 was just week 1. It happens in the NFL, and the Packers are a good team. But the Lions are a contender. I don't know if I had them in my very small contender bubble going into last week, but now they absolutely are. And yeah, the Lions showed everything that I wanted to see from them. I mean, the option play at the goal line was incredible. Like you mentioned, on 4th and 1, not just going for it, but selling the play action so heavy when they've just been running the ball down their throats all game long and then getting Amon-Ra deep and letting Jared Goff drop it in the basket. It was fun to watch, and it was I mean, it's all credit to the Lions, but the Ravens, that's something to worry about, and we'll be talking a lot more about the Ravens as this one goes on. But yeah, we'll start off with props to the Lions on that win. They are now, no question about it, it was one of the prime Super Bowl contenders.
Shout out to the defense too. I mean, 7 sacks. I was going into the game just saying, "Hey, let's not let Lamar get 100 yards rushing." We played that perfectly, and he was in the blender all night. I said it
It
right
was.
before the game. I was like, "Let's put Lamar in the blender." He was in the blender all night, and I
Strawberry
loved
Kiwi.
it. Yep, get it all in there. He doesn't know where he's at, spinning around.
Hey, you're right about that. The sacks was incredible. They kept Lamar off rhythm. Even though the Ravens got some points here and there, they kept him off rhythm and really killed a bunch of drives with those sacks.
Yep. And then moving over to the Chiefs game, Brent. Do you really think that the Chiefs are back just because of really one half of good play against a sorry ass team?
Well, I think that they're on their way back. It's got to start somewhere. And you're not going to win the Super Bowl in week 3, right? Nobody is. But for the Chiefs, they showed that, okay, the most important thing is let's just get a win, get on the board, have some semblance of an offense, and they did. Tyquan Thornton looked really impressive. I loved what Mahomes was doing going down the field to him. They almost hit him. The very next play, he comes back and makes an incredible grab down to the 1 yard line. He obviously scored the first touchdown for Kansas City as well in that one. And I think that he can easily be their number 3 option whenever Rasheed and Xavier Worthy are back over Hollywood, over Juju. I think that he can be that guy. He's younger. He was a second round pick not too long ago. I like the talent that I see there. So it's just building for later on in the season right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that the Chiefs are, back to what they were last year based on one half of football. But I think that was a great performance. The defense was dialed in again. They shut down the Giants. I mean, yeah, it was Russell Wilson, and now you were like you said, should Russell be benched after week one? You were just 2 weeks off on that take, or actually really just 1 week off on that take. But it would have been hard to have that take after the Cowboys performance. So that's what I'm saying. They still being able to shut down Neighbors and Wandale and all those guys that were just racking up yards the week before. It is something. It's not everything, but it's definitely something. It's an encouraging sign, and I think that the Chiefs had to put a building block together. Now they can take the next step.
That's fair. I mean, it was looking a little scary there. Scatterboo goes rumbling into the end zone, and you got Mahomes having to strip sack people just to save a go-ahead touchdown. I'm like, could have been real rough for the Chiefs there. I mean, if you go down in that game, got basically the season on the line. 0-3 is going to be hard to come back from, especially with the schedule y'all boys had. But you got it done, and props to you for that. Is Kelsey completely done, you think?
I mean, it is what it is with Kelsey at this point. He's not a go-to guy. He's a very situational player that on a big third down. I mean, there was a big third down where he whipped in, whipped out. Mahomes hit him. It was beautiful. That was his, one play a game. And honestly, I'll take that. One or two third down conversions a game for Kelsey. Try not to, fight Andy Reid on the sidelines, and I'm good with that. So I love what Mahomes did. You mentioned the fumble recovery thing. That's just, even when Mahomes messes up, somehow he still just makes an incredible play. And then, he goes down with 23 seconds to go. It's a 16-second play. He launches the ball downfield, draws the pass interference. I think that's really what got the offense going was that throw. He just signals Hollywood to just keep going, launches it, doesn't get the catch, but gets the 50-yard penalty. And the Chiefs kick that field goal, take the lead before half. In the second half, they go right down, score a touchdown, and the offense looked better. So they needed a jolt in the arm. It's not going to be Kelsey long term, but Xavier Worthy practiced in full. Hopefully, it's him and Taekwon as the number one and two options this week, with Kelsey being that third option, and we're still waiting in the wings for Rashid. The Chiefs are going to be just fine.
All right, we're going to get into that great matchup later on as well. Before that, though, we got game three or week three, game of the week. The Eagles versus Rams coming down to the absolute wire, and the Rams get their field goal blocked and return for a touchdown. Sorry, anyone that had that plus 4.5 for the Rams. You thought you had it, and you did not. Or your thoughts on that one, Brett?
That's the classic bad beat, the worst beat of the week. Well, my thought is give a lot of credit to the Eagles for coming back, but they just don't want to give Jalen Hurts the ball until it's like must go down and save us zone. They had what 7 passing yards in the first half. There was another just ugly performance in the first half. Another tush push where the guys false starting. They still end up getting the first down, scoring. The Eagles looked pretty rough for long spurts of that game, but then that fourth quarter they came on when they needed to, getting AJ Brown, getting Devontae Smith going. That's kind of electrifying for the Eagles. It makes me believe that okay, they are maybe trying to put some things together. They're another team. They had a lot of different personnel changes, especially defensively. And in second half defensively, they locked down Stafford in that offense. I was impressed with the Eagles in that one.
Yeah, I was kind of not liking the way the Rams were playing in the second half. Their offense needed to step up and put some more points once the Eagles started firing off. They just weren't able to do it. They had what it took at the end, but you can't leave it up to a game-winning field goal. And the Eagles get the win. So it looks like the Super Bowl champions are just going to make their little run all the way back. You know, that's what people will probably think, but we know that's not going to happen.
Well, we will see about that. But one team that now I do have my doubts about in my week three reaction is the Green Bay Packers, who I thought was the most impressive team by far through 2 weeks. But my one question with these guys is the quarterback. And Jordan Love, he makes some spectacular plays, but he's the new old Josh Allen. You remember Josh Allen early in his career would have highlight plays, but then just have debilitating turnovers. and keep the Bills from playing consistent football. That's where Jordan Love is at. And I think that's going to cost the Packers a chance to make the Super Bowl this year because Love will have incredible highs, but in the playoffs, you have to be steady. You have to play 2 or 3 great games to make the Super Bowl. And I don't know if Jordan Love has that in him because the throw that he made last week against the Browns just absolutely makes zero sense in the world. Love is going to cost the Packers this season. I think everything else is put together perfectly. Is that an overreaction?
I don't think it is. I think he's basically the only person that could mess it up. And it makes me think back to that game 2 years ago in the playoffs whenever they were against the Niners. And it came down to the fourth quarter. The Packers had that game in the bag, and Jordan Love could not do anything. He lost the Packers the game. They were going to go to the NFC Championship and face off against the Lions, which would have been electric. But he let him down then. And I mean, he's still got that in him where he can make good throws. But like you said, it's not going to be consistent throughout the entire year, at least. Can he make it through a playoff run? I'm going to have to see it to believe it.
What kind of reaction do you have to week 3?
Well, I'm just thinking the Bengals have got to be the worst team in the league. Their offense is completely terrible with Jake Browning, and so they're basically just a throwaway team this year. I've never seen a 2-0 team look so bad. I mean, the Vikings could do whatever they want. Their defense isn't good because they spent all their money on 2 wide receivers and a quarterback, and their defense is not good. So you can basically score as much as you want, and they're not going to do anything to try to stop it or score on the other side of the ball. So I'm good. I just feel like the Bengals are the worst team. Obviously, there's some other bad teams, but like it's just hard to get behind them.
No, I think that's a great take. I put them right now in that category of all the other trash teams. And I mean, I don't even think it's just a 1 week thing. We saw Jake Browning do it against the Jaguars, 3 interceptions. The Jaguars gifted them that game. It wasn't like the Bengals looked great whenever Browning was in, or even before Joe Burrow got knocked out, they were losing. And go back to week 1, if the Browns had a competent kicker or just didn't Travis Kelsey the ball to the other team, the Browns win that game also. Yeah, the Bengals don't do anything well right now. They have 2 good players and they can't seem to get on the ball because Jake Browning, who is behind an awful offensive line, Chase Brown is got the least amount of yards before contact of anybody in the NFL because he's getting hit as soon as he touches the ball. They can't block, they can't run. Their quarterback throws it to the other team more than he throws it to his own guys, and their defense is awful. I think that's spot on. The Bengals don't. What do they do well in any aspect? I guess they got a good kicker if they can get to field goal range. So good luck. They're going to try to win games by kicking field goals when they're giving up touchdowns. I don't see what the Bengals do well. They are a very bad team. I agree with that. Spot on.
It's just sad to see because it's a team you could easily have in the 12 pack, but one injury and they completely go to absolute trash. And that's just the sign of a bad run organization, in my opinion. But
Yep.
moving on, Brent, any other week 3 reactions for you?
Well, my this reaction is that the Philadelphia Eagles are basically becoming the 2025 Eagles are becoming the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl and now they're 3-0 and everybody's asking what's wrong with Philadelphia. They don't pass the ball that well. Their defense looks shaky at times. They have to win games by blocking field goals. Those shouldn't even count. I mean, don't even count those. They should be losses for the other team. If you win a game by 7 points or less, let's just pretend those are all losses and see what your record would be. Because that's what I heard for a whole entire season. And the Eagles are doing the exact same thing. And everybody is jumping on it. Like, oh, what's wrong with the Eagles? Saquon's not getting going. The quarterback, he's not throwing the ball. Their defense has some questions. They're winning games by blocking field goals. I mean, it sounds like the 2024 Chiefs. They're coming off a Super Bowl and they're doing the exact same thing, which is not a bad blueprint. It means you're gonna be the 1 seed again, and you're not gonna win the Super Bowl, but you'll win a couple playoff games. So, hey, that's what I'm seeing right now. It's like a deja vu in the NFC.
I think you're somewhat onto it here, Brent, but I don't think that's exactly right. I mean, the Chiefs had won all those Super Bowls prior. I don't think people really put the Eagles in that high of a regard. I think any Super Bowl champion, especially with how dominant the Eagles were last year, I mean, if they're not playing that well, you can see it. We all have eyes. We can see them not be able to throw the ball. Their defense is looking shaky. Obviously, in the first half of this game, the past week was the most pertinent example of that. So I feel like they're not really to that point yet. And I don't think they've done enough as far as building up as big of a dynasty to say, yeah, they're going to fall off the way that the Chiefs did. But I do hear where you're coming from.
No, I don't think they're for one. I don't think they're a dynasty, and for two, I don't think they're gonna fall off because the Chiefs didn't fall off. They made it to the Super Bowl, and they're gonna be back in the playoffs this year. I just think that it's just remarkable to hear. It just feels like the exact same commentary that I got with the Chiefs last year, and we'll see where it goes from there if they keep winning these close games or not.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I don't expect the Eagles to be going 15-2 or anything crazy like that, like the Chiefs. That's why I think it's a little different. But I do see where you're coming from, Brent. That's pretty cool. And for me, my week 3 reaction is more of just posing a question to you if you think this is going to happen. I have a couple teams that I think one's going to be able to make the playoffs at 0-3, and one's going to miss the playoffs at 3-0. First off, 0-3, give me the Jets. I actually kind of like what I'm seeing out of them. I do think they can sneak in. Their division isn't that good.
Wow.
They're going to start it off. They're going to start off with a nice win right here this week, and they're going to get going. I think it might take 9 wins to get in the playoffs in the AFC. Right now, the records over there are not looking too good, and the teams are very top heavy, in my opinion. So I could see that working, sliding in there. And then my 3-0 team to
But
miss the playoff.
before we go to 3-0, I mean, we're not gonna just slide past you having the Jets in the playoffs at 0-3.
Yeah.
What do you like about them? Because I have yet to see anything that has really impressed me about the New York Football Jets this season.
Oh no, yeah, I think they're looking good. I think Justin Fields is a good quarterback. He's going to be back this week. They got good weapons. Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall's been looking pretty good too. And I think Aaron Glenn's, yeah, he's getting the mojo going. You saw him doing that dance after they blocked that kick. I mean, they didn't win the game, but it was the coolest dance with the loss in the
Okay,
fourth quarter I've ever seen.
it makes sense now. Like, I was just trying to figure out what the hell are you thinking, and now it makes sense. You just love Aaron Glenn, and you did a cool dance on the sidelines after they blocked a kick that should have gave them the win, but of course, then they ended up proceeding to choke that game away. And that follows when they should have beaten the Steelers and they choked that game away. And then when they actually played a decent team, they got just completely just brains bashed in. So yeah, I guess yeah, maybe you found some sort of lining there that I
Their
will not.
schedule is not that hard, and like I said, it's not going to take that many wins. They can get these wins. Aaron Glenn's going to get the defense rolling here, and I mean, their offense is able to move the ball, which is what I was most worried about, and they're able to do that. So that's why I kind of like them sneaking in the playoffs. You know, it is a long shot, but they're my most likely team to make it in.
I
I
still
kind
have
of like what
another
I'm
three
seeing from
team
them.
that can make the playoffs.
Yeah, what's that, Brent?
Texans
You think Texans?
as a wild card though.
Really?
Yeah,
You think Colts will be able to get that division done?
we'll talk about it, but I think that the Texans, the AFC, like you said, it is really weak right now. Right now, the Ravens are still a top, like they would be the 7 seed right now. They're 1-2. So the AFC is very weak. 9-8 might do it. 10-7 definitely will, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that I just think the Texans are much better than the Jets. The Texans just have no offense, but they've got a great defense. The Jets are bad on both sides of the ball, except I guess blocking kicks when they need to.
Yeah, I kind of like them. Hey, we'll see how that plays out, Brent. And then going over to 3-0 to miss the playoff. I want to actually hear who you got first. You got a 3-0 you don't think's going to make it?
Yeah, well, I guess I kind of hinted I would keep the Colts in. I still think they could miss it. I think the 49ers will definitely miss it. They just lost Bosa for the season. They should not have beaten the Cardinals. That was my upset pick of the week, and we might as well just already talk about it. For the second straight week, my upset pick has the lead in the final minute of the game, and for the second straight week, they find a way to blow it. So that was pretty tough, but I don't like. Even if Purdy comes back, now they don't have their best defensive player. Their injuries are just piling up. Kittle's still out. It's massive for them to be at 3-0 because the division is all right on their tail. All the other teams are 2-1 right behind them. I don't see that. I don't see them being able to stave off the rest of them.
Yeah. That's fair. I do think they're going to end up making it. Like I said, I think there's going to be three teams from that NFC West because the 49ers still have a pretty easy schedule moving forward. But the team I think is going to miss is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have one of the hardest schedules, on the other hand, coming up. And I think that the Falcons can still get frisky in that division. They had a bad game, but I think that they can still get it done. It is going to be hard for a team to come back and get them out of the playoffs, but I think the Bucs are a team that's teetering on the edge right now. I mean, they have had to have last second drives against the Jets, against the Falcons, and against the Texans, all teams that really, are they really all that? And that was in the Falcons' first game of the season. It was the Bucs too. It was like, I don't know. I feel like the Bucs just don't really have that great of a squad right now, and they got a tough little schedule coming up. So I could see them dropping a lot of games in a row.
Well, the Buccaneers are very similar to the 49ers in the fact that they are suffering a lot of injuries right now. Luckily for the Bucs, it's not their quarterback because Baker's basically keeping this team together with like popsicle sticks and glue. But yeah, they're injured, banged up too. I don't hate that one, but I'm gonna ask you this question leading into it because this was my most surprising thing of week 3, and that was Penix going pumpkin mode as we turn to fall, and he threw the ball right to fall right into the laps of those Carolina Panthers defenders. It was shocking, 30 to nothing, and it wasn't like the Panthers offense did anything. They didn't have to because Penix just gave them short field after short field, mistake after mistake. Is Penix a pumpkin?
It definitely looked really rough on Sunday. One of the worst games I think I've ever seen, but I know he's a good quarterback and he has the accuracy and deep ball that it takes. I don't think he's a pumpkin yet. That's too early to say, but the good news for the Falcons is even if Penix, plays bad a couple more times, you got Cousins sitting there that, he's going to be able to do enough to win you some games. Really feel like it'll be all right, but Penix definitely has to play better. But hey, they got two quarterbacks for a reason. They're paying one millions and millions of dollars. It's not the end of the world if Penix needs to sit out for a little bit. Get right, maybe a Bryce Young comeback, and throw Cousins in
How'd
for a
that
few
work
games.
out? How'd that work out? Did the Panthers make the playoffs? Or were they picking in the top 10 of the draft again? That sounds like the worst case scenario because instead that sounds like you have zero quarterbacks. They've already benched Cousins. Now if they bench Penix for Cousins again, that would be an absolute nightmare. Penix has to step up. The good thing is he's got a very soft defense to play against next week. So we will this upcoming game. So we will be talking about
I
that.
mean,
But
he'll do good.
your answer did not encourage me very much, Luke, in believing that Penix can snap out of it and be viable this season.
I mean, he's a good quarterback. I think he will be good this season, but the Falcons have good pieces around him all over the field and on defense too. So that's what I'm saying. Even if they can't get it going, they have a good roster around them, really, a lot of good weapons. So I think he'll be able to figure it out. I mean, it's early in his career. People expect these quarterbacks to come out of college and be great. I feel like if he is starting to taper off, don't give up the season. Don't keep throwing him out there. If he isn't great this next week, but he's still a great asset to have. You got Cousins. It's not the end of the world. I feel like for the Falcons, they could still make the playoffs.
What surprised you about week 3, Luke?
I'd say the blocked kicks. They were absolutely crazy, and the game-winning field goals. I mean, you can't ask for better than that. Sitting home on the couch, 1 o'clock, and it's just you don't know what's going to happen. Every game's coming down to some kick, and all of them are getting blocked. Some of them are sneaking through right around somebody's hands. I mean, that was absolutely wonderful to watch. And my favorite one by far was the Green Bay Packers getting their kick blocked, and then the Browns coming down and getting the win. I mean, that was absolutely wonderful to watch. Like you're talking about, the Packers offense couldn't do anything. That Browns defense is a little scary, but their offense is trash. And so you just lost to the Browns, Green
Yeah.
Bay. The Browns.
That
Oh,
is
that's funny.
so tough. Now, the block kicks were crazy. I was watching the Eagles Rams game with a bunch of Eagles fans, and they were hyped. They get the block kick, win the game. Then it pans over to Buccaneers Jets, who I thought well, this game was over. It was 23 to 6. They're my survivor pick of the week, my lock of the week. And then all of a sudden they block the kick, return it for a touchdown, and I'm freaking out, thinking that my survivor pick was about to go down in flames. Of course, Baker let him, Egbuka. But wow, that was crazy. The block kicks, man, they were nuts. But apparently, you know, if we go back to last year, block kicks shouldn't even really count. So maybe they should get that out of the game.
Yeah, just let him do chip shots.
Well, on to
They're
week
warming
four,
up.
Luke. We've got some great matchups again this week, and it starts off with a Thursday night thriller. These teams are going to be wearing their different alternate uniforms, new for this season, and it's an NFC West battle in the desert. Seahawks, Cardinals. Cardinals getting a point and a half at home. Both teams 2-1, Luke. Very similar teams that were both outsiders looking in terms of division favorites to start the season with the Rams and the 49ers also in the mix. But so far, both teams have looked pretty solid. Right now, with each of their teams, the kind of the question is the quarterback. Who would you rather have, Kyler or Darnold?
I think you got to go with Darnold in this situation, what he's shown this past year and a half. And I think it really comes down to his decision making. You see Kyler, it seems like he's not all the way locked in as far as knowing where the reads are, knowing exactly where to get the ball to. And it's just sad to see because he is so talented and throws a good ball. His receivers aren't helping him out a whole lot, too. I don't even know if he has receivers on those teams, on his team.
One
But
receiver is really soiling it.
yeah, that was terrible. And so, yeah, you're Cardinals. That's tough for you. But Darnold, I gotta go with him. I mean, he's a good player. You know, he's able to get the ball where it needs to go. I mean, he's like Danny Dimes, really. I mean, the way we've seen Danny Dimes, it reminds me a lot of Darnold. He's able to just get the ball where it needs to go. So, hey, I like quarterbacks like that. That's what they say Jared Goff's so good for.
I'd rather have Kyler. I just would rather have JSN than Maserati Marvin Harrison, and that's a problem right now. Harrison has not been good. Trey McBride, though, another big touchdown for McBride against the 49ers. I'm in that Lamar blender you were talking about earlier when thinking about this game because my heart's telling me you got to ride with the Cardinals. You can't get off them just one road division win when you had it at the gun. But the Seahawks look good. But the Seahawks lost at home to the 49ers in week one. Now, that was a different quarterback there. This is a really tough one. It's probably a stay away game for me in terms of my actual accounts. But if I'm having to pick a team, I'm going to have to take the Seahawks and hope I'm wrong on this one.
No way. You're going against your boys. Well,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, Brady. You know I'm going against the Cardinals Seahawks and now, and that'll be a good way to start off the week.
Yeah. Well, my way that I'll start off the NFL week in terms of actually placing some wagers will be Sunday morning. Whenever I wake up for the first Dublin, Ireland game of all time. It's Vikings Steelers, Luke. And the Steelers are 2.5 point dogs against the Vikings. Now, we saw Rodgers play against the Vikings in London last year, and that Vikings defense tore him up. He got knocked out of the game for a little bit, came back in, had a chance for a game winning drive, threw a pick down the sidelines. I remember that game because I was heavily rooting for the Vikings in that one. And I don't know. Rodgers versus the Vikings defense seems like a recipe for disaster. Can Rodgers survive against this Vikings defense?
No, I don't see it happening. He's going to be under fire all day long, and the offensive line for the Steelers just isn't that great. You saw the Patriots, really get after Rodgers. He was uncomfortable all day in that game, and it's going to be tough against this Vikings defense. I don't even know if Rodgers wants to board that plane because I don't know if he's going to come back on an NFL team. That might be his last ever trip out there. I hate to say it, but they're going to be absolutely coming after him all day. What do you think, bro? You think
Yeah,
he's got any
they're going to
shot in
be.
that one?
I mean, the Vikings are top 10 in sacks. They've got 9 sacks through 3 games, and they're number one in the NFL in terms of takeaways, forcing 7 turnovers. They are going to be licking their chops at old man Aaron Rodgers. I like the Vikings to put the paint on the Steelers. Rodgers is going to be just wanting to get rid of the ball immediately. They're not going to be able to push the ball downfield at all. And I like the Vikings to cover 2.5. You have to swallow less than a field goal in this one. That'll be my first real pick this weekend. Vikings over Steelers.
Especially Wentz. Wentz with the Vikings is probably better. So yeah, I'd roll with them for sure. I mean, they do have 9 takeaways, but you gotta think the Bengals. I don't know what they're doing, but I mean, they must have had butter all on their arms and their hands and everything because
Yeah,
every
but do we
time
think the
anyone get
Steelers?
tackled, the ball came out.
You think the Steelers are going to be any better?
Maybe not.
Next game, Luke, to talk about is a big one in the NFC. Two 3-0 teams. Eagles at Buccaneers. Both teams have been winning close games. Bucs getting 3.5 at home. And Luke, do you think Saquon, is this the week he finally has the juice?
I don't think he gets it going this week. What do you think, Brent?
I think that Saquon, it's I think he has a chance because now, of course, the Bucs they do have some good run stuffers in the middle, but they've lost already one of their defensive linemen for the season. I keep thinking it's gonna have to come. It's like it's Saquon Barkley. Eventually, he's gonna have a 100-yard rushing game. So why not this week? Although I still think the Buccaneers get right down to the wire. I definitely like the Bucs side of this one, 3.5. I think it's another close game. The Eagles have played played all three close games against the Chiefs, against the Cowboys, and against the Rams. The Buccaneers have done the same thing. Bucs at home. I think it's a field goal game one way or the other. I, maybe we'll stay away from the money line, but 3.5. I'll take the Bucs in that one. Both teams have looked good at times and have won games. But it's going to be a really interesting game because I think it's kind of going to be a set of benchmark for both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, I just really don't think Saquon's going to be able to get it going just because I haven't really seen the juice out of him this year. And like you said, the Bucs defense is focused on stopping the run. They want to make other teams pass, and they're only going to lean into that even more going up against a team like the Eagles that just wants to run the ball. So they're going to be completely loading the box, and that's going to be their main focus. And this game just has to come down to the wire, like you said. The Bucs love making it come down to the wire. The Eagles, I feel like they're not going to be blowing teams out like they were last year a decent amount. So I like this one to come down to the wire. And yeah, when it does that, you got to take those 3 points in the hook.
Absolutely. And think about this. The Bucs are one of the teams that's had the Eagles number. Of course, they knocked them out of the playoffs the last time the Eagles lost a playoff game, and they knocked them out the last time Jalen Hurts lost a game that he didn't get concussed in the first half of. The last time Jalen Hurts played a game start to finish was early in the season last year. I think it was this time, like week 4 against the Bucs. Buccaneers won that game. The Eagles haven't lost since outside of a game in which Jalen Hurts got concussed midway through the first half. So the Buccaneers might be the team with the Eagles number. I think the Bucs would be the side in this one.
Yeah. And then moving on to the afternoon, we got Colts at Rams. Rams are -3.5 in this one. Got a battle of the heavyweights here. And Brent, what do you think will really make you believe that the Colts are a real contender in the AFC?
It's simple for me. Beat the Rams.
Yeah.
Like they have not beaten a great team so far, or even a good team. I'm trying to even remember who they beat. They beat the Broncos. That was impressive. It took a penalty on the last snap. So, I guess if you block a kick to win, that doesn't count as a win. But if the referees throw a flag and you get a re-kick, then I guess it counts as a win. I'm still learning all these winning games on a field goal at the end rules, what counts, what doesn't count. So yeah, that one. Congrats to the Colts on that one. And then they beat the Titans and the Dolphins, two of the sorriest teams I've seen this century. So yeah, win against a good team. And even if it comes down to the wire, even if you win on another leverage call, you win on the road against a team that I know is good, not you win at home against a team that might be good or might not be in Denver. They win. They're a contender.
That's fair. I think it's a little bit more intricate than that just because I need to see the Colts defense be able to stop a good offense. Because against the Broncos, they let them score a decent amount of points, and the Broncos offense really hadn't been able to show that they're very good. Dolphins, obviously, they shut them out. I mean, who knows what they're doing? And then the last week against the Titans, they let them put up some points too. I need to see the Colts defense show me something as far as slowing down the Rams a little bit. The Rams are one of the best offenses in the league with a great wide receiver duo and quarterback. So I need to see the Colts defense really step up here. And if they can do that, even if they do lose in a close game, I'd still put them in that contender category because I think Daniel Jones, that offense, they got the weapons like we've talked about. That's really all I need to see. Can that defense step up against a really solid offense.
Do you think they can? That's they're given 3.5 points. Can they keep it within a field goal game on the road and slow down this offense at all?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to keep it within a field goal. I don't think they're going to be able to win this game. Like I said, I mean their defense just really hadn't shown me much. That's what I need to see it from. That's why I don't have them in that contender level right now. So I need to see it first, and until I do, yeah, I'll take the Rams minus 3.5, probably by a touchdown at least in this one.
I agree with that. I think the Rams are going to be fired up after blowing that one last week. I'll take the Rams side of things there.
All right, and then moving on to another big Kansas City Chiefs matchup. Wow, it seems like we have these every single week. It's like they could just fall into bad acid every week. I mean, let's see what's happening here. We got the Ravens at Chiefs plus 2.5. Who do you think is more trouble with a 1-3 start between these two teams?
Well, I think that in terms of winning a Super Bowl, the Chiefs are in more trouble because that means the Chiefs are falling behind in an actual race for their division. Whereas the Ravens, I don't see much of a race at all. They could probably lose every single game the rest of the way and just win their division games and win the division. Like that is how bad that division is. We already talked about the Bengals. They are horrible. The Browns are at least good on one side of the ball, but nobody's buying that the Browns are going to win more than 7 games this season, right? And then the Steelers, with whatever they've looked like, they, snuck out a win against the Patriots in a game that they got outplayed in, snuck out a win against the Jets, got beat down against the Seahawks. I don't buy them at all. So the Ravens can win their division, play playoff games at home. They'll be no matter what. I mean, they could just have to get to 9 wins probably to win that division, maybe 10. For Kansas City, they have to win in order to try to keep pace with the Chargers, who are actually a good team. But I think that in terms of morale and in terms of just melting down, the Ravens could certainly melt down if they start 1-3. Lamar already did not look like himself coming off the sidelines a lot. You saw him frustrated play after drive against the Lions. And you don't usually see that from Lamar unless he's playing Josh Allen or Mahomes. And so the fact that he's already doing that the week before, it is worrisome. The Ravens, they just make bizarre things. Like the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They are always going to be there until they're proven not to be. They they have that mentality. The Ravens don't. So, in terms of actual logistics, Kansas City probably needs it more, but in terms of making sure that they keep the train on the tracks, I think Baltimore needs it a lot more.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the Chiefs who need this win. Like you said, the Ravens, I mean, they got off to a bad start. They might be the new Bengals from the past few years with these slow starts. I mean, the Ravens have just not looked like themselves in September, but there's no doubt in my mind they have a great defensive roster. Just didn't put it together against the Lions, and I think they'll be just fine coming up come November, December, and they'll be able to get in the playoffs. The Chiefs, I don't know if they got what it takes. If they start off 1-3, still a tough schedule ahead, it will definitely be rough. But just imagine how funny it would be if Derrick Henry ends up fumbling again in the fourth quarter, costing the game. I mean, that was the craziest crash out I've seen in a while against the Lions. If he does that against the Chiefs, I mean, who knows? That could go crazy.
Well, it's just insane. Like you never would suspect a player to do that. That's just the craziness of the NFL because I don't think that but it's always you got this 1 in 100 chance every time you carry the ball and somehow he's, rolled that that 100 twice now in 2 games in prime time moments in big spots. And I think though that the defense is an absolute worry for the Ravens. I don't know. They've got a lot of players injured on the defensive line, but I don't think they do anything really good defensively. They pick up penalties. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They got destroyed in both the games against good teams. And even against the Browns moved the ball decently. They just turned the ball over. So I'm really worried about that Ravens defense. I don't know if they'll be able to get it fixed like they did last year. I think the Chiefs win this game. I'll be there at Arrowhead, and I'm fired up for Kansas City to get the W.
That'll be awesome, Brent. I'm happy for you getting out there on the feet on the ground in Arrowhead. But I got the Ravens in this one. I mean, Chiefs are plus 2.5 for a reason. Back to back games. at home where they're underdogs. And we saw what happened last time, Brent. I'm sorry, I don't think it'll be good for you. Those Ravens, they're fired up and they have a good organization. They win regular season games. So do the Chiefs, too, obviously. But I think right now the Ravens got the talent. The Chiefs are just few weeks away. Come week 7, once they got Rashi and Xavier Worthy back, hey, sign me up for some Chiefs ball. I think they'll be ready to go, but just don't see them having the weapons to be able to put up points like the Ravens are going to be ready to do here on Sunday.
I think that the Ravens just let anybody put up points. The Ravens have scored more points through 3 weeks than any team ever that has a losing record. They've scored 111 points or something crazy, and they've still lost twice. This is Kansas City gonna be able to dice them up. Tyquan Thornton, big game. One of the running backs, hopefully big game. And Mahomes will do Mahomes things. And the Ravens and Lamar, this is Lamar's kryptonite. This is like what Lamar is at his worst is against Kansas City. He's 1-5 all time against the Chiefs, including the big AFC Championship game in 2023 in Baltimore, and then last year at Arrowhead, Week 1, where the Chiefs got off to a good start. Ravens come within an inch or two of maybe tying it up or maybe winning, but the Ravens just don't beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Lamar doesn't beat Mahomes. Mahomes gets this one.
It's hard to make that comparison between the Chiefs and the Lions whenever you got probably the greatest running back duo of this generation, and then you're looking over the other side of the field for the Chiefs, and that might be the worst running back duo I've ever seen lay hands on a
Just look
football.
a little bit in front of the running backs and the guy under center because that's a big difference too between the Chiefs and the Lions.
I know that's true too. That's true. But hey, we saw you kind of had to run the ball. We'll see if the Chiefs can run the ball on Sunday. It'll be a great game. I'm hyped you're going to be there, Brent.
Yeah, but it's going to be a fun one, Luke. Well, that's going to be certainly one of my picks this week, the Kansas City Chiefs, as well as some of the other ones we've already mentioned in the 5 games that we highlighted. But now, Luke, let's talk about some of our picks on some of the games we didn't get to talk about. Starting with my upset of the week. You made me worry a little bit about picking this team and this guy, but I'm going to go with it. Michael Penix is not that bad. The Falcons are going to rebound. This is a time of year where you overreact to one singular game and then the lines get crazy. I don't know if Washington's going to play Jane Daniels or not, if he's going to be healthy. He's been limited in practice so far this week. Either way, you've got a player who relies on his legs so much in Daniels that needs to move. The Falcons, their pass rush has looked better this year, or you're playing against a backup in Mariota, and the Falcons just need to revert to the mean. They had a terrible game. It's time to find the level there. I'll take the Falcons to win outright. They're at home against a team I think that's near similar caliber of them. So that's a pick for me.
I like it, Brent. I think that'll be a good game. We saw them take it to the wire just a few games ago whenever the Falcons played them at the end of last year. For my upset of the week, I need to get my upset picks going. I've been on fire with my locks and my props, but this upset's got to work for me this week. I'm going with those Jets. Like I said, hey, you might be seeing them in the playoffs this year, and they're going up right now, +2.5 against the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel's, he's got a hot seat right now, and it's only going to get hotter after going down to the divisional rival in the New York Jets. I love Justin Fields. I think he's a good player. He had a bad week 2, but he's going to be back this week, and he's going to be ready to fire up again. Throw the ball to Garrett Wilson, one of the best receivers in the league. And hey, I like what I'm seeing on offense right now from them. I think they can start to get it together and build some of this momentum with their new head coach. I like the Jets.
I'll tell you why you haven't hit an upset pick yet, Luke, because you just keep picking the worst possible imaginable teams. You're on the Carolina Panthers for 2 weeks, then you get off them at the worst possible time, and
Yeah.
now you find one of the few teams that are worse than the Panthers in the National Football League, and that is the Jets. At least my upset picks are winning in the last minute. You just need to bet money line through 59 minutes, and you 2 for 2 on each of the last 2 weeks. So my locks, though, they've snuck by each of the last 2 weeks as well, including the Bucs last week, though they did not cover. But my lock this week is another team where we are going to revert back to the mean in both teams. The Patriots are way better than what they looked. They outplayed the Steelers, They just commit stupid penalties and turnovers. That has some variance to it. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. Same with the Panthers. Panthers are not nearly as good as they showed. Patriots only 5.5 point favorites at home. When they're going to want to bounce back, the Panthers are going to come down. Patriots win and cover easily.
I don't know. You know me, Brent. I kind of like those Panthers. I mean, they showed what they could do. This could be your first lock going down here. Coming down to the wire might not be good enough, but go with that if you feel like Brent might be on something. For me, I'm going with the Texans -7 versus the Titans. The Texans are going to get going, and their defense is good enough. We've seen them have a great defense coming back from last year. This year, D'Amico's got them boys fired up. It's just their offense can't do anything. You know what's good for an offense that can't do anything? Going up against the Tennessee Titans. That's going to be great for him. CJ Stroud, I mean, he's got to be able to get right here, be able to get the ball to some of those young receivers he's got over there, and they'll be just fine. Look to get Woody Marks involved too, the rookie running back. He's going to be looking real nice, and Texans get this one done no problem.
It is encouraging that the Texans, for one, they get to play the Titans and the worst coaching staff in the league. They got a huge advantage there. And they've got those young players. I do like Woody Marks. Also, Christian Kirk is back now. That's kind of massive for him. He's going to be the wide receiver too behind Nico. So another option for the Texans. And the Texans are a team that I've just been dialed on. I told you, just take their under every single game. This is the first time ever in NFL history that a team has allowed 55 points or less through 3 weeks, and they're 0-3. They have just not been able to score more than 7 or 10 points a game. They've hit the under all 3 games. They've lost all 3 games, of course. So it does scare me having to take more than a touchdown because it's probably another game that's going to be like 13-10. But I do think the Texans win this game. And yeah, if there's a team that maybe the offense gets going on, it could definitely be the Tennessee Titans. So I do like the Texans to win outright at least. Parlay Patriots, Texans, and throw on the Broncos against the Bengals, who we both think are terrible. All three of those teams are at home. That gets you to plus money. That's one of my favorite picks this week. Patriots, Texans, and Broncos parlayed money line.
There you go. What's your prop, Brent?
My prop goes to our Sunday night game. We didn't get a chance to talk about this one, so have to bring it up. And I mean, it's just the easiest thing in the world. Micah Parsons, his return to Jerry World, and he's going to be fired up. I like Micah Parsons to record a sack on Sunday night. The Cowboys look awful. No CD Lamb this week. Their offense is going to not have any outlets. Dak's going to have to hold on to the ball trying to find something. Parsons is going to be just screaming off the edge. Packers win this one comfortably, and Parsons is definitely going to get to celebrate at least once there on that Dallas logo.
That'll be something special to watch, and I can't wait to see that game as well. I'd love to see that. Get the boys fired up for that one. And my prop, I'm going with Romo Dunze over 55.5 receiving yards. He's Caleb Williams' new number one quarterback. Ben Johnson, or wide receiver, he's Ben Johnson's number one wide receiver. And this is probably one of the lowest lines you'll be able to get him at all year. For some reason, against the Raiders, who have let people throw the ball all over the field on them. Last week, got absolutely torched by the Commanders. And we've seen it every game. The Chargers did it to him a couple weeks ago. And Caleb Williams actually did look pretty good last week against a terrible defense at that. But he's going up against another one that secondary I really have no faith in. And the Raiders over 55.5 seems like a lock for old Odunze.
Oh, L Dog to Odunze. I like that, Luke. Your props have been dialed in so far this season. So that's another one that has all the makings of a winner. Well, speaking of some more winners, Luke, you know what time it is. It's time to tell you about the 12 pack and the 12 best teams in the league as I get parched right now and I'm going to need to take them down. You ready to hear my 12 best teams in the NFL as of today?
Let's do it. You love to see it. What do you got for us, B?
Starting at number 12 is a 3-0 team, but still a team that I have massive question marks in. I'm letting them in the 12 pack just barely. They're going to have to prove themselves, though, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. We talked about them a little bit with injuries everywhere. No George Kittle, probably no Purdy. Nick Bosa now out for the season. still missing Ayuk. The Niners are trying to hold on. They have, a couple decent wins against divisional teams, which is big. Seahawks and Cardinals. That's kind of the reason I had them in the 12 pack. When you beat two divisional teams that also have winning records, that's enough to get you in the 12 pack, but I don't buy them more than that. At number 11, the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, hopefully he is back. I love watching him. Washington, of course, is one of my picks to make the NFC Championship game this season, and they're going to need Jaden Daniels to be able to do that. So, Washington, they got to win without him, which is impressive because they can't just be a one-man team, and I was kind of worried that might be the case after watching them against the Packers. But Washington sneaks into the 12 pack as well. At number 10, the Indianapolis Colts and Big Blue. Congratulations, Colts. You're going to make the not even just the 12 pack, but actually the top 10. So well done for you. Don't be mad that you're just at 10. I mean, come on, let's be honest. You don't actually think you're better than the teams that I'm about to list. So just be happy that you're at number 10. Well done, Indianapolis. At number 9 is the Baltimore Ravens, who would be favored by a touchdown against the Colts no matter where they played that game. Baltimore is got issues. I honestly think so. They've blown chances against two teams that are good teams, but the Ravens are supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team, and their defense is very bad. I think it's just straight up one of the worst defenses in the league. And Lamar does not look as comfortable, at least last week, as he normally does. So, Ravens, you got to go at number 9 right now for me. Just one spot below the Kansas City Chiefs, who come in at number 8. We'll see on Sunday that the Chiefs deserve to be higher than the Ravens in this 12 pack. Patrick Mahomes, he knows how to beat Lamar Jackson. He knows how to win these big games. And the Chiefs win this game. When they do, they're back to 2-2. They've got a better record than the Ravens. The Ravens are the team everyone's talking about how they're worried about them, and the Chiefs are just fine going on their way. Chiefs will be climbing up this 12 pack. Number 7 is the LA Rams, and they come oh so close to being 3-0, but could not seal the deal against the Eagles. And they're a team that just always seems to come up short against the top tier contenders. I've got them in this mid tier contender list right now. They lost the Eagles in the playoffs. They lose the Eagles again here. They can't seem to get over the hump. They're in a tough division. They're in a logjam at 2-1 in that spot. So they come in at 7. Luke, any comments through the first 6?
I feel like you got to move the Ravens up a little bit. I'm surprised that I see them down here. I mean, their offense is so good. They still have Lamar Jackson, one of the best players in the league, and they're not going to be going up against two of the best offenses every single week. They'll be able to get it going. But besides that, I like what you're putting out here right now.
Now we'll get to the top 6 teams. And at number 6 comes the Big Show and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 3-0, 3 Baker Mayfield game-winning drives. And while the records of the wins aren't that impressive, I think that besides the Jets game, that was a meltdown, but they still saved it. Texans and the Falcons, I think, are both better than their records show, and the Bucs won both those games on the road. So we'll give them a pass for having a 17-point lead and then end up trailing, but they still got the win. Bucs at 6. Number 5 is the LA Chargers. They were also on the ropes at home this week. Herbert came through with a big game-winning drive. Chargers look solid all around. There's not much to take away from them. They're one of the best teams in the AFC, and they deserve a top 5 spot right now. At number 4, these guys shot up the list, and it's the Detroit Lions. One of the biggest wins so far of this young season. A very impressive victory on the road at Baltimore, where the Lions were just firing on all cylinders on both sides of the ball. They are right back to contenders list, but can't put them ahead of the number 3 team because I still have this one seared in my memory. The Green Bay Packers just outplaying the Lions on both sides of the ball. The good thing is the Lions will get another chance at the Packers in the regular season as a divisional opponent. And the Packers obviously have to drop for their disaster class against the Cleveland Browns. They are at number 3. Number 2 is the Buffalo Bills. They had an impressive win week 1. Since then, they played just 2 scrub teams. So congrats on their wins against the Jets and the Dolphins. Neither of those teams are good, contrary to anything you might have heard during this podcast. Those teams are both trash. So the Bills come in at number two, and the Eagles are still the number one team in the NFL. I count blocked field goals as wins. So congrats to the Eagles. They are 3-0, and they're the number one team in this 12 pack.
Well, Brent, you had me for a little bit, but then putting the Eagles at number one, I mean, I get it. They won the Super Bowl, they're 3-0, but watching these games, the Eagles are not better than the Bills. You can't tell me that they are. The Bills have such a more dynamic offense. James Cook looks like an absolute beast. Despite what people say Saquon Barkley is, I'd rather have James Cook
No, you
depending
would
on
not.
what I'm
That's
seeing right now.
ridiculous. You would not rather have James Cook than Saquon Barkley. There's no
Hey,
way.
he's an absolute dog right now. I love what I'm seeing out of them. And the Eagles, they look like, I mean, they had a good second half last week, but I don't see them as the number one team in this league right now as far as moving forward. I get what they did in the past, winning the Super Bowl, but this is a different team, and I would not have them number one. I'd definitely slide them back, maybe even behind those Detroit Lions.
So the Bills, they are able to escape and have a miraculous comeback win against the Ravens, who are 1-2, and that's awesome. But when the Eagles have to come from behind and have a comeback win against the Rams, who are 2-1, that gets them docked points. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that was a blocked kick. We already went over those, so we understand those don't count as real comebacks. So yeah, we're moving forward, and the Eagles are clearly going to be down the list whenever it comes for my 12 pack next week. Maybe even the Eagles will take a loss this week. We'll have to see how it goes.
Well, we will have another 12 pack next week, but man, that one was very tasty to me. One of my favorite 12 packs in quite a while. Although we would like to see the Chiefs go up a little bit higher as well. So maybe we can still work on this recipe. It's early in the season. We'll perfect the 12 pack recipe. But thank you so much for tuning in for another edition of the Hesse Bros. We've got another great slate of game. Chiefs, Ravens, Sunday afternoon. I'll be in attendance. Luke, any final thoughts on this week's games?
That'll be great. I know we didn't touch on a lot, but the Lions are going to be playing the Browns this week. No need to talk about that one. We'll just talk about all the cool touchdowns the Lions got and the shutout that's about to occur in Detroit home stadium. So that'll be great. Go Lions.
Thank you so much for watching or listening. Please like, follow, subscribe on any platform. Thanks for tuning into the Hesse Bros, and we'll see you next week for some more NFL football.